Good afternoon, Dr. Williams. It is certainly a delight to have you here. I would like you to start off by telling us about your career path to your present position as instructional designer and educational technology consultant.
Thank you, Beverly. I did not start out as an educational technology consultant. I actually started my first job after my science degree. I studied at the University of the West Indies, and I did a BSc in food chemistry, chemistry, and zoology. And after that, I worked briefly for the summer at Food Technology Institute. While there, though, things were a little slow, and I really wasn't finding the job meaningful. And I shared this with my former chemistry teacher, and she asked, why don't you come over to Excelsior? So after 3 years, I decided to do my diploma in science education, and I went back to the university, spent a year there, and I did my diploma in education. Upon completion of my DipEd, I then was invited to go to London, England, to take part in a teacher exchange program. So I taught, it was actually Lowestoft in Suffolk. I taught for 1 year chemistry at Kirkley High School. That experience was quite rewarding, and I learnt a lot, both socially, meeting persons and from a different culture, because I was the only black teacher there at the time. Upon return to Jamaica, I went back to Excelsior and stayed there for another year. So in 1994, I took up the position of team leader and science teacher trainer for the Reform of Secondary Education project. There I worked with schools in St. Anne, St. Mary, and Trelawney, helping teachers to implement the science curriculum at grades 7 to 9. The opportunity was presented to me to study further in the Netherlands, the University of Twente in Enschede. So I took up the offer. I was awarded a fellowship, and there I did a 1 year MSc in Education and Training Systems Design. I found this very stimulating, and I enjoyed the program immensely, and I believe this is where the instructional designer in me started to grow. After studying in the Netherlands, I returned to Jamaica, and then I was offered a teaching position, lecturer, at Shortwood Teachers College. There I lectured in science education. This was for 2 years. At the end of the 2 years, another opportunity was presented to me. This time I was invited to apply for the faculty fellowship to study at the University of Twente, and this now would be my PhD. I pilot tested this environment, which was on a CD. It could also have been web-based, at the Michael Teachers College with some pre-service teachers, and the results were quite encouraging, and it really showed me that when teachers are given real-life scenarios, case-based scenarios, that they tend. At the end of my studies, I returned to Jamaica. I was offered lecturing positions in both science and educational technology. So my studies really prepared me to now go into the two fields. However, as time progressed, I really saw myself being pulled into the field of educational technology and instructional design, and leaving the science behind. And I have no regret. I do instructional design for organizations if they would like a set of lessons to be offered to students. It is my job to take the content and arrange it in a meaningful way so that students can really engage and interact with the learning environment. Right now, we don't have sufficient locally made materials, so we normally encourage the teachers to develop their own materials. And we also conducted workshops, so we wrote the modules and then we conducted the workshops. We did school visits. Also, They are in the process of revising the primary curriculum, and it is very much mandatory that technology integration must be done at the primary level. So, as part of that development process, developing the technology integration activities to support the delivery of the primary curriculum. After we do training with principals and teachers, what I find rewarding is when I see the information being put into practice. For example, because this tells me that they are serious about it, and in writing it, they will be using it to guide the use of technology at the school level. I also find it rewarding when I visit schools and I see teachers using the technology effectively. For example, on some of my visits, I have seen where teachers have students in the lab going on some of the websites we have recommended or we recommended to them on the project, and I'm seeing the lights, the bright lit faces of our students really enjoying the activities and taking in the information and also being able to assimilate it and to share it. And it is, usually it's meaningful and you could see that they have grasped something from it. I'm also encouraged when I see them creating the electronic portfolios for their students, and also the teachers themselves are creating interactive materials just the way we saw them doing it, or just the way they were shown at the workshops. Some teachers also add their personal flair to the materials, and this really excites me. I'm really encouraged by this. My answer is a resounding yes, because at the moment, the Tablets in Schools project is underway. We expect that this project will be pilot tested in selected schools come next year, early next year, and we know that the ministry is very serious about using technology to improve students' learning. Also, eLearning Jamaica has had a number of interventions in the secondary schools where technology is concerned. There are private sector organizations who have sponsored labs and also supplemented these with training. Also, eLearning Jamaica has had a number of interventions in the secondary schools where technology is concerned. There are private sector organizations who have sponsored labs. Some of the challenges I've encountered on the job, well, as you are aware, internet access is not readily available across Jamaica. And at many of us, there's no internet at the school level. But we still press on, and we encourage them not to lose heart, but still use the interactive websites that we have shared with them. Another challenge is that we have limited time for training. Sometimes you will find that teachers are not tech savvy when they come to us, and as a result they need more training, but because of the limitations of the project, we were not able to extend the training hours, and there are those teachers who are not willing to embrace the technology. But I think these are now becoming in the minority, because I believe pretty soon all teachers will embrace technology. To name a few, you have ISTE, International Society for Technology and Education. You have edutopia.org. These organizations, they share current trends in technology. We have to really keep up to date. So that's another thing. I think, be ready, be up to date, be willing, be flexible, and keep reading. And of course, we would expect that they would choose a program that will really prepare them for the field of educational technology and instructional design. So I really hope that persons wishing to enter this field, there are so many universities now, but make sure that you look at what is being offered and then you make your selection based on the offerings.
I must commend you, Dr. Williams, for your remarkable accomplishments. All the very best in your endeavors, and thank you.